I like what you said about the 5-day silent retreat that you took.
Mm-hmm.
I did something similar. I took an 8-day at a monastery, and it was just what you said. Here's the kitchen.
Mm-hmm.
Here's where you get your coffee. There's something unnatural about that,
Yeah.
because I think part of the reason we men get kind of irritated and frustrated and then maybe condemn ourselves for it is because, well, no, what you're doing is still unnatural. You need to be doing something.
Yeah.
Don't just sit in your room and then go to the chapel.
Yeah.
Chop firewood.
Yeah.
Fetch the water.
Yeah.
Cook the food.
Yeah.
I agree with you. That's I think a necessary component to this sort of thing. All right. Well, we need to start something. Well, when you encourage men to do this and they say, well, that's great, but how do I do that? Where's a cabin I can rent to do this? What do you say?
Yeah. Okay. So first of all, the challenge, maybe before we say that too, listen, there's times in life where you're exhausted, you're totally spent. There's nothing better than going to a monastery, having a room and having some quiet time. So you have
100%.
Praise God for the monasteries that offer that. We need that. I need that sometimes. So not taking away from the wonderful blessing of a retreat center or a monastery. So for me, it's men over 18. So I'm not telling a 14-year-old to go off into the bush, over 18. I don't want to get sued, So that at the age of 18, that's how old St. Anthony was. And many other saints, 18, they went off. So once you're 18, you're a man. You need to prove your manhood. Not to others, but to yourself. I know today I kind of winked at you because you're not supposed to say that. You prove your manhood, And so, but I'm saying, no, you do need to prove your manhood to yourself. You're 18 now. You need to show yourself that you're enough of a man to be able to let go of your technology and figure out how to cook some meals to stay alive for 3 days in the bush. And I also always say, please prepare, be safe, be prudent, don't do anything stupid. And I also give the young men permission, not that they need my permission, but I say, listen, it's okay to send your family a daily "I'm still alive" text. So when I put out this challenge, please, be prudent, be wise. So, young man, you're 18. Father Mark is telling you need to prove your manhood. Go out into the wilderness like Jesus and John the Baptist. If you don't have any experience at all and no access to wilderness, you have two options. One is just to talk to some guys who might be maybe hunters or have, access to land or do that type of thing and say, hey, I want to spend some time in the wilderness. Can you set me up? Can you help me out? Can you give me a place? Can you give me some direction? So that's one option. If you don't know anyone who can help you out in that way, the simplest thing is just go to a park. And maybe an off season when it's not busy, and just book a campsite, for 3 days. Or sometimes guys ask, well, does it have to be in a tent? And the answer for the particular challenge I'm putting out, doesn't have to be in a tent. It can be some hunt camps are very rustic and simple. Some people also have a very simple cottage that is quiet, it's remote. Again, there's not a massive big screen TV or whatever. That can work too. The point is ask if you feel drawn to this, ask the Lord, say, Lord, kind of help me to find a place. And like everything in life, sometimes it might take a few tries, you might get a campsite, get a tent, and I don't know what, you can't get through 2 days because you weren't properly prepared or whatever. Fine. That's life. Go regroup, try it again, And now, other people do have access to wilderness. And so, for some of the guys I've challenged, they do have, property or they're hunters, so they have access. And then for me, I challenge the men, try to make it a defining discipline in your life. So this is something you do as a man. Once a year, you have your 72 hours, you go into the wilderness, and you know how to do that. You're fine. And I like to tease the Canadians. I say, listen, a real Canadian man can survive in the bush for 3 days. That's, and I think the Australians too, which by the way, a lot of Australians follow my channel, and they like the outdoor stuff too because of the outback, and also the walkabout challenge. It's kind of a rite of passage. I encourage learning about the Desert Fathers because the Desert Fathers are a hoot. They're absolutely delightful. They're very challenging, and
yeah, that's really good. Wouldn't it be neat if you did a shout out on one of your videos inviting Catholics around the States or wherever else who had a cabin on their property or who were willing to put a simple Poustinia on their property, and you could come up with a map of these different places where people could go online, pay the money to rent the place, sign a waiver so you're not sued. It'd be cool if we did something like that, don't you think?
I thought of something like that. For me, the ideal is that every parish has a hermitage. So, you know, there's a place where you can go to be alone, you know. But
there's no way a parish is going to take on that kind of risk.
I know. That's the problem.
That's why I'm thinking like men who have acres of land who are like, yeah, I'll throw up one of those wooden shed things on my property and that'll be part of this network of Poustinias.
Yeah.
And men could go on your website and they could look up a Poustinia in their area and book 3 days.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I'd love something like that. I mean, the sad thing is in a world of, you know, lawsuits and litigation and all that, you know,
I know.
Everything is complicated. Like one option too is if you had a group of men who were kind of just said, okay, let's you know, say 25 of us each pool in $1,000. Let's get an acre of land in the middle of nowhere for whatever, 20 grand. Let's put a little shack on it, and then it's our shared use.
I'm going to give someone a mission in life right now. Let's start not Airbnb, but like airpoustinia.com. Someone go buy that URL and, you know, maybe it isn't prudent to have a priest running this, you know, because you don't want people to get mauled by bears and it come back to haunt the companions of the cross. But someone could run this. Someone could do the legal stuff. You sign a waiver, you pay your money, you show up. That would be amazing. Because I think a lot of people go on Airbnb and they just look for like a remote cabin, and they do have those sorts of things. Airpoustinia.com. I want that 24 hours after this episode airs. I expect someone to have bought that and to be running it. That could be such a beautiful thing for souls. Would you do me a favor and click the subscribe button? I don't know if you know this, but it's 100% free, and it's one of the best ways to support the work that we're doing here at Pints with Aquinas. Help spread these excellent interviews all over YouTube, and I think you'd agree, there's a lot of junk on YouTube. We need more good conversations like this.